Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. As usual, doing the whole Instagram and Facebook thing at the same time, because that's how we get down here. So, just giving everyone a chance to go ahead and log on and get on here with us. As always, if you like, go ahead and click like, go ahead and share. Share if you dare. Hi. Hi, Brave. Hi, Alex. Hi, Baratek. Share if you care. Share if you dare. And just giving everyone a moment to go ahead and get on here with me. And I'm on the Facebook, I'm on the Instagram, actually reverse. Okay, Corvette. So I'm doing these at the same time with you guys. As always, a lot of people ask me, they want to make donations. A lot of people have made donations to me doing these lives. And basically, you can do so via Cash App at cash symbol Hector Salva, as well as via PayPal, help at mysticalwork.com. Hi, Jean, right? And like I always say, go ahead and share if you care, share if you dare. You never know when something that we talk about here will help someone that you know, okay? So today what I want to talk about is spiritual attacks. And spiritual attacks like really seem to be on the rise these days, where a lot of nasty individuals, right, tend to be using their powers to do harm to other individuals, often a lot of other well meaning individuals, good hearted individuals. And if you've never been through a spiritual attack, okay, it will shock the shit out of you. It will mess you up, right? If you've never been through a spiritual or a psychic attack, it can really mess you up. And a lot of people get messed up via spiritual attacks, especially if they're new or they don't know, they've never been through one. And so it just be like, what the hell is going on? And there's various symptoms that go along with spiritual attacks. In the last, I don't know, year and some change, I've been dealing with more and more people. Hi, Goddess Mother. Hi, Shanta. Dealing with more and more and more people that have been coming to me and are actually being spiritually attacked. And many people, unfortunately, are even being attacked by their own teachers. Hi, by their own teachers and their own mentors, right? And, you know, as far as that's concerned, a wise person said to me once, like, you can't soar like an eagle hanging out with turkeys. You cannot soar like an eagle hanging out with turkeys. And you can't be the best you when you're dealing with people that are basically low class, right? And oh, yeah, this does happen. Okay. And another thing that someone just mentioned here, which is very true, if you do have protection, sometimes when someone spiritually attacks you, it's not going to hit you, it's going to hit the weak links in the chain. It'll hit your children, it'll hit your animals, it'll hit other individuals that don't have the protection that they need. And it'll start to affect, especially in the case of children, their behavior, and it'll start to affect how they feel. It's really damaging when it happens to children because it messes the whole world up of the person. And in the cases where it's happened to adults, we know adults whose life has been totally turned upside down as a result of spiritual attacks. Let me clean my eyes so I can see you better. And unfortunately, time and time and time again, we have lots of individuals that come here and they're being spiritually attacked by people that usually are either their own mentors or teachers, which shouldn't be mentoring or teaching to begin with, or by individuals that were at one time their brothers and sisters spiritually. And the unfortunate thing is, spiritual attacks very often kind of creep in, okay, in a very, can you be spiritually attacked without you knowing? Yeah. So people can be spiritually attacked without them necessarily knowing. A lot of times when spiritual attacks creep in, they're very sinister and very insidious. Many blessings, very insidious and very sinister. They can kind of creep in there without a lot of people noticing. A lot of times, when people finally realize that they're being attacked, they are deeply, deeply being, they're in the shit. Bonsoir, comment vous allez? Nous là, nous en forme, right? They're deeply, deeply in the mess. And spiritual attacks can and do. I'm going to give you the case in point of someone who came to me a few weeks ago. And we're going to call her Jen just to protect her privacy. And in Jen's case, it started out with destroying all her friendships, all her relationships. It started pushing everyone around her away from her. And it actually started through a Santeria house that she was a part of. And when she actually started to wake up to the nonsense that was actually going on in that location, she started to realize what was going on. She started to take a step back, and then the spiritual attacks began. And it first affected a lot of the people that didn't have projection. We parle Creole. A lot of people who had no protection around her, who were either not spiritual or didn't know about the spiritual work. And so they didn't have protection. And what happens is oftentimes these people become affected by the spiritual attack first. And when they become attacked, it's glitching, right? That's the lovely thing about our technology. It loves to glitch. Love you too, darling. A lot of times when people get spiritually attacked, especially children, right? Your children start to become affected first because children are actually a lot more open to the energies at play. And because of that openness, it leaves them open for attack. Children are a bit more authentic than most people, and so they tend to be more authentic with the energy that's at play. They haven't yet learned how to control all of that that's going on for them. And so, because of that, children will often suffer the most in the beginning, and you start to notice they start acting up, they stop acting like themselves. A lot of them end up having problems and issues at school. A lot of them have problems and issues with their teachers, okay? And they start to act out, right? And if you have animals, those animals will often as well start to act a little crazy, act a bit cray cray, and they'll start to act out, and they may also get ill really easily from just strange and weird illnesses. A lot of times, like what happened with her, she was spiritual, but her man wasn't spiritual. A spiritual attack can affect your blood pressure, right? So she was spiritual, but her man wasn't spiritual. And so he lacked the protection, right? And so he started to just have these like nitpick at her and started him going against her every which way and started just picking arguments with her, being really negative, being really nasty. And no matter what it was that she seemed to do, she just couldn't seem to get it right. And after some time, this starts to break down the connection and the relationship that they had, right? And so her relationship fell apart, and little by little, her friends started to be pushed away from her so that there wouldn't be anyone there for her. So, one of the things that happens with spiritual attacks is a lot of times they seek to isolate you and push people away from you, especially anybody who they would feel or think would be able to help you. Aside from that, she started to have a whole bunch of problems for no reason at work. She started to experience issues with people at work for no real reason, right? People just started to kind of like all start to jump on her back. From there, she started to feel various pains in her body. And these are what I call ghost pains. What I call ghost pains means it's like when you go to see and you go to really check in on that pain, it like stops and then it moves somewhere else and it moves somewhere else. And if you go to the doctor, they say there's nothing wrong with you, right? And yeah, they say there's nothing wrong with you. They can't find anything medically wrong with you, right? And over time, these things collect. It's just like a spiritual attack that's well done, meaning that that person knew what they were doing. It'll become well rooted in the system. And over time, undergoes what we call here the snowball effect. So a snowball effect is where you have the snowball running down the hill and things just grow larger and larger, more and more out of control, worse and worse. So for Jen, it started off with, the relationships, then it started off with her children, then it went into like causing her friends to be pushed away and her family to be pushed away, issues at work. And then finally, things started to actually just break down in her house, as well as her experiencing a whole bunch of ghost pains all over her body without a source. That can and does, over time, start to cause real medical issues, right? Your body has an immune system. But if the immune system is consistently being attacked and it's never being given a time to repair itself, right? For example, like if you're experiencing high blood pressure and it's consistent, right? Your blood pressure is consistently high. Eventually, that blood pressure issue is going to start to affect your heart. It's going to start to affect your brain. It's going to start to cause other issues. It can cause heart attack. It can cause stroke. Luckily for her, luckily for her, she was able to get in here and we were able to start to remove all of these things, get her all cleaned up, and get her properly protected. Now, spiritual attacks, when they come from people that are supposed to be your family or your spiritual family, they're way worse because these people have certain bonds and connections to you that make you very open to their influence, right? It makes you very open to their influence, and it makes it easier for those people to attack you. So we were able to clear her of those attacks and start to reverse everything that was happening and then put in place a proper protection. Once she started to have the proper protection in place and things were cleared, then suddenly she stopped having the problems with the people at work. That's actually the first thing that cleared up was people at work started acting normal again. But people at work will act freaking crazy when you're being spiritually attacked, right? She stopped having the pains going on in her body. And from there, her children started to actually act more calmer and start to kind of like chill out. Eventually, her husband was able to kind of come back, and the relationship was able to actually begin to be worked out. A lot of damage had already been caused. When you go through a spiritual attack, right, or when someone hurts you, it's no different than your physical body. There's a process that has to happen afterwards for the body to begin to heal. And that process, depending on how long you were sick from the attack, is going to give you how long it's basically going to be for you to get better. Removing the attack is one thing, protecting you, that's one whole set of things that has to happen first. And then once that's cleared and resolved, okay, then people can start to heal. Then we can start to bring your luck back. We can start to bring your man back. We can start to get your children right. We can start to get your work going right. But if things have sustained too much damage, right, the healing process is going to be longer. Okay? Someone asked if consistent jealousy or envy can cause similar side effects. Yes. Here's the thing. Okay, there's spiritual attacks, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a definition here. Spiritual attacks happen when people interact with spirits to attack you. However, there's something else that is very similar that we call in our tradition psychic attacks. And there are certain individuals who are naturally born with a lot of spiritual psychic strength, meaning they have a lot of force within their energy. And when they do that, and a lot of spiritual people naturally have a strong force as well. When they do that, they're able to direct their force. A spell is not always needed, right? Someone who has control over their force does not always need a full on spell in order to affect someone else. In fact, part of the spiritual growth process is learning how to direct your force as well as how to develop yourself so that you don't always need to do a full on spell, right? And in our tradition, in Espiritismo, la 21 División, Brujería, we have something called mal de ojo, or the evil eye, which you can find all over the world. All over the world you will find about the evil eye. This is why, like, I'm not wearing one, but evil eye charms have become really popular because in our culture, when someone has a very naturally strong energy with them, when their energy is really naturally strong, okay, they can direct that energy towards you in a negative way that is harmful. And you can find yourself suffering as a result of their envy and their jealousy, right? Envy, jealousy, hatred, all of these energies have a heavy force. meaning they weigh people down. It's just like when you're stressed, right? When you're stressed, you feel weighed down. You feel tired, lethargic. And over time, you can actually start to collect this, right? And for many spiritual people are empathic. In fact, you kind of have to be. So this is one of the things where like empaths in our traditions aren't very often discussed because it's kind of part of being spiritual is that you have empathy. If you lack empathy, you're going to lack the ability to connect with other energies. However, being empathic leaves you very open like a sponge. And like a sponge, I don't know if you know anything about sponges, right? I'm going to assume you don't. But sponges need to be cleaned out, right? And if the sponge is not cleaned, it starts to get moldy and mildewy and it starts to absorb. And actually, when you start washing things with that dirty sponge, everything else that you start to wash becomes dirty as well, right? And someone said something that my grandmother also used to always say is like envidia no mata pero mortifica, which means that envy and like jealousy, it won't kill you, but it will cause you lots of suffering. Bien, bien. It will cause you lots of suffering. How are you, Amex? Kumawiye? Because there is a very strong component within culture to constantly be in competition with other individuals. One of the things about a lot of spiritual people is that we don't care usually to be that competitive, right? And so a lot of people come to me and ask me all the time, like, but I'm a good person. Why does this happen to me? I'm a good person. Basically, let me tell you something. Being a good person gives you no protection. In fact, when you're a good person, you're probably going to get done dirty more often. Why? Because you don't think like the messed up people think. You're not on that tip. So a lot of times you lack the awareness of how nasty and evil others can actually be. A lot of times good people suffer a whole hell of a lot because they don't realize that just because you're good doesn't mean everybody else thinks like that, right? And a lot of good people end up suffering because they can't understand why they're being like why it's happening to them. But actually, when you're a very good person, it leaves you with a blind spot. Okay? Being a very good person doesn't protect you. With me saying that, it doesn't mean Papa's saying don't be a good person. Keep being a good person, keep being you. Okay? Don't let nobody change you. However, realize that there's something to be gained from having a well developed spiritual master by your side because that's why you have a mentor, a teacher, a master. We watch your blind spots, right? It's just like when you drive a car, Corvette, okay? When you drive your Corvette, okay, there are blind spots even though you have those mirrors, right? There are certain things you're not going to notice about dirty individuals. There are certain things that are actually blind spots, which leaves you open to being hurt or being harmed or taken advantage of. And since you don't think that way, right, the idea wouldn't ever even come to you, right? You would never even have a clue, right? But when you have a spiritual master a true spiritual master by your side, a true godparent, right? We've been around the block a few thousand times, okay? And although we're good people, we've learned about all the blind spots. We've learned what to look for, what to watch out for, okay? Being a good person is not a protection. A lot of people, if you're being good because you're expecting something in return, then you're not good. I'm sorry to say it, but truth hurts. Okay? If you're being good because there's an expectation that you're going to receive something from being good, then you haven't totally reached being good yet. It doesn't mean that you're not a good person. It means that there's still something in there that expects something from being good, right? Being good is not a protection. Protection is protection. Being good is being good, okay? There have been plenty of leaders and presidents that are not good, okay? That are not good in any way, shape, or form. And yet they continue to live the good life, okay? They continue to be successful in the world. Being successful in the world does not mean you're a good person. However, being successful in the world, hi mariposa, does not mean you're a bad person either. Being successful in the world is about using your mind and using your intellect to be successful. But there are good people that are successful, and there are bad people that are successful. Just like what a lot of people don't realize often is that there are good spirits in the spiritual world and there are bad spirits in the spiritual world. The spiritual world is not that different from this one. Okay? There are spirits that are, yeah, there are spirits that are criminals in the spiritual world, rapists, all kinds of evil things. And there are angels and spiritual guides. And just like in the physical world, everybody ain't what they show you, baby. Everybody ain't what they show you. Just because somebody or some spirit presents a nice face doesn't mean that they're nice. One thing that I learned in like living in DR, living in Haiti, okay, is that a lot of times the people that seem the nicest off the bat were usually some of the meanest, cruelest individuals. And a lot of times the people that seemed like they were kind of mean and kind of like they might have not liked me, they were just more real. They were actually some of the nicest people, right? That's not a rule that is across the board. Almost never is there a rule in the life that's 100% across the board. There's exceptions to every rule, right? That's why it's a rule and not a law. True laws cannot be broken. Rules can be broken. Rules are meant to be learned and then overcome and then at some point broken. Laws cannot be broken. Universal laws cannot be broken, right? So if you're unaware of what a spiritual attack is, you can end up falling victim. There's a big thing in this culture or in various cultures. Well, if you don't believe, it can't hurt you. Lots of people didn't believe in coronavirus and got the virus. Lots of people don't believe in lots of things and they still get hurt by those things they don't believe in. Your belief is not necessary. And sometimes by failing to open your mind to all the possibilities, right? You actually harm yourself from finding the solution, right? When you're like, well, it can't be that. I don't believe in that. So therefore, it can't be that. Then you can't find the solution and you're sitting there sick like a dodo when you could have been well a long time before. So the thing when it comes to the world is my grandfather used to say, El que sabe que no sabe, sabe. He who knows that he don't know, knows. Okay? Means always stay open. Always stay open to the fact that you might not know everything. And what might be true today might not be true tomorrow. Everybody was expecting the government to take care of everything for them because certain things were true. And now those things aren't true anymore. So what might be true today may not always be true tomorrow. Staying open to the fact that you don't know everything and that there's more that you don't know than what you do know is going to let you keep your eyes open to the possibilities of all truths and therefore keep you open to finding a solution to your problems. Okay? A lot of people know too much. And when you know too much, you know nothing. When you know too much, basically there's no space for new knowledge to come in, right? And a lot of what people think that they know isn't knowledge at all, isn't wisdom. It's based on judgments, it's based on fear, it's based on past hurts, it's based on beliefs. And if you believe something, it means you don't know it, baby. You don't have to believe in spiritual attack. It happens. You don't have to believe in coronavirus. It's there. Lots of people didn't believe. Lots of those people are dead. Just stating facts. Okay? You don't have to believe in things in order for them to be true. So if this has rung true for you and you find yourself in spiritual attack, or you're like, oh shit, that's what's going on with me. Send us an email at help@mysticalwork.com. We resolve this all the time on the regular. And not only that, I'm going to tell you some other thing. All right, I'll tell you a little secret. People say people say a lot of crap and it's not true. People say that, you can't be protected from it forever. Yes, you can. You can. People think that they lose all hope and they think like you're just going to be stuck like this forever. You don't got to be stuck like that forever, baby. You ain't got to. There are solutions. There are resolutions to what you're dealing with. You don't have to stay stuck. A lot of people lose hope or they get so used to things being crappy or things being crappy for them that they think like there's no possibility of change. But my grandmother used to tell me, as long as you're alive, things can change, baby. As long as you're alive, things can change. And as long as you're alive, you can change your situation. It might not be easy. It might require some sacrifice, but you can do it, right? The first thing that you have to do is take some strength in yourself and say that you're worth more. And a lot of people just don't have the confidence in self to say that they're worth more, which you are. God thought you enough that you were worth more that he put you here instead of the 10,000 other sperm that could have been here. Okay? No, I'm not. Um, Change is what is constant. Change is what can change things. right? You have to back yourself up. Other people ain't always going to back you up. And you can't always look for the support of other people, right? No offense taken, I ain't got no problems with anyone, right? So you can't always look for other people to back you up, right? There's a lot of people that are going to be back you up when things are good and when they can gain something from you. And there's a lot of people that the moment shit goes left, they ain't gonna back you up no more. They're gonna be gone, like the wind, like the movie, right? So that's the situation. Is the first thing is you gotta let go of the idea that you have to be stuck forever, because you don't have to be stuck forever. There is no such thing as forever, baby. Even even the biggest mountains have fallen. Even the biggest mountain will eventually become a valley. It might not happen today, might not happen tomorrow, but it will happen, right? So even the biggest mountains will change. So don't face the mountain and be like, man, I'm gonna be at the bottom forever. Nah, you got people here, you got me here, you got various other people who know how to help you walk up that mountain and conquer, right? But you gotta be like, you're worth it. You gotta know that you're worth it. And if you have kids and maybe you don't feel like you're worth it, do it for them. You got a dog, do it for the dog. Okay? Because while you're suffering, your kids, your family, other people will be suffering along with you. And one thing that people don't know or might not be common knowledge about spiritual attacks is that they can be inherited. It means you can pass this down to your children. If you don't deal with it, in fact, it will get passed down to them. Over time, these things do run, and they will run to your children, and they will run to your loved ones and other people around you. So, if you find yourself in this situation, if you're like, Papa, you're talking to me, that sounds like me in my life. It means that we're the ones to help you. Send us an email, help@mysticalwork.com, right? And if for whatever reason you're like, I can't afford this or I can't afford that, speak up, right? We have people that need help that they're like, I can't afford this or that. Speak up. Where there's a will, there's a way. Little by little, we'll chip it away if that's what needs to be done. We're here to help people, right? But if you don't speak up and you're just like, pues, I'll just keep my bad luck forever, then you probably will, right? And there's also going to be lots of people who will act like they can help you and not really be about it. So I hope that this live has helped you out. Many, many blessings. If you don't already know, let me see where that is. Oh, yeah, it's right here. We got the book, The 21 Divisions, Mysteries and Magic of Dominican Voodoo. My email address is help@mysticalwork.com, right? This is available. It was published by Red Wheel Weiser. It's available everywhere books are sold: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, IndieBound, etc., etc. Everywhere books are sold. You can even get a Kindle version of it. You know, you're going to learn a lot about our tradition. It's a very ancient mystic tradition that can take you to happiness, right? I didn't become who I was by myself. I don't give all credit to myself. It's because of God and the mysteries that allowed me to be this way, right? And that has allowed me to be a servant and to help people, right? And I haven't done much of anything for people. I just am smart enough to get out there God's way and let God do what he got to do. Let the mysteries do what they have to do, right? You are worth it. Remember that you're worth it. There's going to be a lot of things, a lot of people trying to convince you that you're not, right? People, you're going to, don't compare yourself to other people. You're not here to compare yourself to other people, right? You're gonna have to see that you are an original. God doesn't make carbon copies. God doesn't make carbon copies. Even twins aren't 100% alike, right? So don't worry about what Joe Blow is doing. Don't worry about what Mary's doing. Worry about your lane. Do you be the best you can be because you only got one life to live and it's very short. It might seem long, but it's actually very short. And you don't have to be in the suffering forever. No matter how long you've been in it already, you don't have to stay in it. Okay? At any point in time, you can decide you're going to get yourself out of the toilet. It just takes one step. Everything starts with that one step. So I hope that this has helped all of you. Many blessings. I will probably be doing a live later in Spanish. If you like the video, go ahead and share if you care. Like I said before, a lot of people have been sending in donations, loving these lives we're doing. You can donate at Cash App, cash symbol Hector Salva, or to us, help at mysticalwork.com. And if you see me here in Spanish, come on down to Chinatown and join us, right? And we are going to be doing lives in Spanish as well as we have many people who have been requesting that. So many blessings to you. And today and always believe in yourself at least. Because if you ain't got shit else, at least you got your damn self. So many blessings.